And we're just really excited and grateful, fortunate to be in this position. Really proud of this group. Really proud of the coaching staff, everybody involved, the players coming together and really finding a style of football that put us in position. And while we're sitting around waiting for the outcome of the Falcons and Saints game, at the same time, it's just a lot of hard work put into this season and taking advantage of those championship moments along the way. And here we go. We have another one right in front of us. Just really excited about being back in Bank of America Stadium one more time. We left this stadium after the Seahawks game, not sure if we're going to get another opportunity, but to have one more chance in front of our fans with the energy that it was like, especially down the stretch this season, it's a really exciting opportunity for us, and we're excited for it.
We'll kick things off with Jeff Hawkins, followed by Scott Fowler.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, bummer to hear about Coach Carroll, first of all.
Yeah.
My question is, the Panthers running backs are coming off their worst rushing performance of the season. And when looking at the team's wins and losses this season, there's a stark difference in the average yards rushing. Entering the Rams rematch, how important is it for Dowdle and Hubbard to control the offense the way they did in the Week 13 win?
It's a full group effort. Starts with me and the coaching staff, making sure that we have the right plan together for our guys. And then it starts up front with the O-line, the blocking, the combos, making sure we're moving guys off the spot to get the play started. And then once the backs have the ball, just looking for that violent style of play that we saw, that we know they can, and return to that and make sure we're getting efficient runs on a consistent basis.
And how is Dowdle's toe?
He seemed fine to me. We'll do all of our medical rechecks, and we'll have all that information out later on in the week.
Hey, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dave. Two quick ones. One kind of a fun one, but you weren't sure yesterday about hats and T-shirts and how these would be passed out. So has that been happening today, and if so, how?
Yeah, they're sitting in our locker room, so got in this morning, ready to watch film. There it is. There's a shirt and a hat, and that's what we play for. That's what we hope for, is to win the division, win that first championship first, which puts us at home, for the first round, for the wild card round of the playoffs. And just guys are wearing it around the office, and it's just a great feeling to be able to bring that back here to Carolina, to Charlotte, and to share that feeling of that first championship first. And now the mentality shifts. It's 1-0 with a chance to win the world championship.
You didn't decide to wear it today to this press conference, though, huh?
Correct.
The last one, the Rams, despite you beating them 31-28 earlier this year, are a 10.5 point favorite. Do you consider that a sign of disrespect?
Hey, that's what it is. I don't know how they come up with those numbers, but I'm sure they have algorithms for us. We can't worry about that. We just got to worry about playing our best football. That's been the pursuit, and we have to get back to making sure we're efficient on third down, get our run game going, offensively speaking, and defensively finding ways to get off the field. And, I see a defense in our defense that continues to learn how to play together, trust each other, play with leverage and physicality, and we got to just continue to build off of that.
Thanks, Dave.
Mike Kay, followed by Joe Person.
Hey, Dave. You have 31 players on this team who have never been to the playoffs. How important is it getting exposed to that environment? I know you guys have said that you've been playing in the playoffs for like the last month, but how important is that for the development of your 11 rookies and some of the younger guys who haven't had those type of moments?
It's a fantastic opportunity. Again, as much as we try to preach to our group, every game is a championship moment. Every game is a championship opportunity. Here it is right in front of us now. We're in the playoffs, and to try to make sure that our focus doesn't waver or shift, like you have to do anything that you haven't done before. It's about the basics. Football this time of year is about tackling, it's about blocking, and it's about being really efficient. And with each round, the pass rushers get better and better. Here come the Rams with a fantastic front five, the way they get after it, the way they play. These are the types of teams that are in the playoffs. And so matching that energy, making sure we're at our best has to be the focus.
And then you've got about a handful of guys who have rings in that locker room. Do you have them when you guys are having that Friday meeting or whenever you have it, kind of like the rallying call of the week? Do you have those guys step up and talk about how to maintain during the week and all that sort of stuff?
I've thought about that. It's a possibility, night before the game, maybe lean on some of those guys who have that experience, who've been there and to feel what it feels like. And I would expect the message is going to be pretty consistent. Can we find our best football? Can we play with that energy? Can we play together? And the teams that play together, that play the best football, are the ones that have success in the postseason. And so hopefully that'll be the message from the guys. And beyond that, I know that they'll be having one-on-one conversations with different players all throughout the week.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Joe.
Excuse me. Good to see you. Wondering about Rob Hunt specifically. You've been trying to get him up to speed. How difficult is that decision, just based on A, his health and well-being going forward, but then B, kind of how it relates to the chemistry that offensive line has built?
Yeah, it's a big week of evaluating Rob and seeing if he's physically ready to take on the game. Again, wanted to make sure, going into last week, I wanted to make sure that he'd be able to play an entire game, not something where he's going to pop out there for a couple series and, be moving around, just for the ebbs and flows of it, just getting your rhythm, getting your hands on people and getting back to football. And so this is a really big week. We have a couple of practices to be able to see what that looks like with Rob out there. And, these are guys that he's been around. He's been here the whole time, rehabbing here, in-house, getting stronger here. And he's been in all the meetings. He's been in all the conversations. So, nothing has gone by him in terms of how we've evolved together as a group. So we'd be leaning on that part, that he's ready mentally to go. Physically, that's really the question we have to figure out this week.
And then quick follow-up, different topic, but the first Rams game, you guys were without Trayvon, you were out without Rosaboom and JC, and yet you turn over Stafford 3 times. I know you preach being all about the ball. What was the key that game to getting the ball away from Stafford?
Yeah, it really started off on first and second down, getting him to some more pass situations, higher percentage pass situations to try to be able to affect the pocket and, force Matthew to get the ball out a little bit quicker than he wanted to in some of those. And then on top of that, it was just about owning leverage, communicating, evaluating the formations, and really anticipating the different concepts that they try to attack with in 2x2s, 3x1s, different things like that. So just taking all that information in and making sure that they played together. And, Nick, Scott, Mike, Jack were right in the middle of all that, and a group that really played well that game.
We have time for a few more. We'll go with David Newton, followed by Mike Solarte.
Hey, Coach, wanted to ask, it was mentioned Pete Carroll there at the beginning. What's your reaction to that? And have you guys had a chance to talk?
We have not had a chance to talk. This is pretty fresh. Generally speaking, when I've had friends or, coaches, colleagues, different people that have been in this situation have been fired, I always felt like it's good to just give them some space to be able to connect with family and have those conversations.
Understand, man. And secondly, you see quarterbacks that have success in the playoffs. See some just have them in the regular season. How big of a game is it for Bryce in general and for quarterbacks in general to win in the playoffs? How does that separate them from other quarterbacks?
It's all the preparation, every single game. They're all steps in preparing for these types of moments, and it's really important to just be efficient. And it's the same. It's going to be the same message coming from me: is I don't need you to be special all game. There's going to be 3 to 5 opportunities in the game where you got to call it all up. Use all the tools that you have with your mind and your legs and your arm to make those plays when the time is right. And that can be early, that can be late in the game, but it's really important to understand that part. You don't have to carry this thing. You just have to do your part and be efficient and make the right decisions so that we can play our best football.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, Dave.
Hey, Mike.
As we've talked about it in the past, I know it sounds like a lather, rinse, and repeat opportunity here, but trying to beat a team twice in the same season, you went through it last week with Tampa, and now you have another opportunity here. What was learned from last week in trying to beat Tampa twice, and how do you apply the lessons to be able to do it this week when everything's on the line?
We had good information. Use the information from the first matchup to see, how we were trying to attack and to react to different scenarios, and make sure that we're on top of that. And obviously expect, there will be some wrinkles, and we understand that part of it. But when you play a team the second time, there should be a little bit of confidence for things that are similar, things that that they may try to recreate in some way, shape, or form. And, and the fact that we were able to come away with the win should give confidence as well. If we do our job, if we do right, and we play well together, we can win, but it's going to take all of our focus and all that. And, we certainly have seen them, bounce back and really, get back to playing their rhythmic football and Matthew taking care of the ball, the run game going the way that they see it going. And defensively speaking, they've been really consistent. And so we just have to take all the information in from these past couple of weeks and make sure that, we revisit some of the things that were successful for us and also just be ready for adjustments.
And back to the question on Rob and maybe even David Moore. How close were they last week? I know we'll get injury information, but was there a lot of a decision to go into Saturday in Tampa about those guys?
Yeah, very close, physically speaking, really close. But there's a bigger conversation that goes with the roster. Whenever you bring a player off of IR, somebody's got to go down. And so those are the bigger conversations that we're also just continuing to work through.
Thank you.
Alex Zitlow, followed by Steve Reed.
Hey, Dave, I'm going to ask a similar injury question. How close was Claude and Canales to playing on Saturday, and how did Chris Barnes do in his stead?
Claude was very close. Chris did an excellent job in the roles that we asked him to. We had to, with Claude, we kind of took him through the week, and, this was something that he was dealing with, and we wanted to try to get him out there to get some work done and didn't feel like we can get that done right before the game. So, but I have confidence because of all the return to play work that he's been doing, even through the weekend, that we'll be able to get a good evaluation of him going out there.
Hey, Dave, I was going to ask you about wide receiver. Jalen played 92% of the snaps. Xavier only played 31, I believe. Can you talk about that decision? Why you made that decision that Jalen is, seeing a larger role on offense and Xavier less of a role?
Yeah, it's a really big time for Jalen as he's been stepping up and making plays for us. And so, we looked at last week as an opportunity to get him out there a little bit more in 12 personnel, 13 personnel, get him out there just because of the way he's been producing and give him more opportunities. And, Xavier understands that part too. And he made his plays when they came to him in the game. So I was really proud of the way that he made an impact as well. But again, this is a celebration of Jalen just continuing to step up into a more starter role in 12 personnel and 11 personnel and those things, just trying to find a way to get him more involved.
And a real quick follow-up, just you mentioned the running game earlier. What has, in your mind, has been the fall off? Why are you guys not producing as you were earlier in the season?
Again, it's all of us. It's making sure we're running the right styles of runs for our group. Starts up front. We have to get movement. We cannot let people run through the line of scrimmage. Safeties, linebackers cannot run through the line of scrimmage. Our combos have to be excellent. We got to make sure it's covered up so that the backs can press the line of scrimmage and make decisions from there. And then from there, challenging the backs. Get that ball and run physical downhill. Let's get efficient runs. We can't have zeros and ones. If there's any daylight at all, let's get behind our pads. Let's get 2, 3, or 4. We do that twice in a row, we're in a manageable third down. When we get into these known pass situations, 2nd and 10s, 2nd and 9s, then we get a little bit more predictable. We still run the ball in those situations a little bit, but if you want to get into a favorable third down, a lot of times you're going to be throwing some type of pass concept. And so we got to get back to having that really efficient run game that we were counting on in the middle of the season.
And we'll go with John Ellis and finish things off with Danielle Stein.
Good afternoon, Dave. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Quick question. If I'm not mistaken, you were part of the 2010 Seattle staff, correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and that's a team, obviously, that similar situation, not necessarily a winning record regular season. Do you lean on that at all internally with your staff, with yourself, with your guys to show that, hey, it's a new season, everybody's 0-0, and anything can happen? As you know, that Seattle game, it went a certain way for you guys that day.
I do personally, just remembering, we were all the way up into the last game of the season, and Charlie Whitehurst played that last game against the Rams. Matthew Hasselbeck, we were in Tampa the week before. He had an injury during the game, so Charlie stepped in, and it was defense, run game, and Charlie being efficient that day that really got it done for us. And it's team football, and that's your opportunity to win. But what I remember most is even at 7-9, which we were that year, we won the division and we got a home game, which gave us the crowd. And that's what I'm so excited about, is bringing football back into Bank of America Stadium. Our fans have really had an impact, particularly when our defense has been on the field. They've caused some issues for offenses communicating, false starts, delayed games, different things like that. That is a real advantage. And certainly from a pass rush standpoint, when it's loud, the offensive line and the defensive line are coming off on the ball at the same time when you're in a silent count. It's a huge advantage for us. And then just the momentum of the plays being made. I just remember, that was New Orleans Saints, the defending Super Bowl champs from the year before in 2009. And of course, I can't forget, Beastquake. And really the crowd just going nuts on this amazing run, breaking, 9 or 10 tackles all the way. I was in the box at the time. We're all yelling so much. The stadium was actually swaying a little bit. The whole building was moving. And I popped up on my feet and was yelling so loud when I sat back down after the touchdown, I almost fainted. It was just like I had all the blood had rushed to my head. But just an amazing memory, an electric moment. And I'm really excited to create some memories and moments here in Bank of America Stadium Wild Card Weekend.
Last one, just quickly here. A couple of decades ago, Dom Capers hosted the first playoff game in franchise history in that very stadium. Does that ring a bell with you and your staff? And if you talk with Dom a little bit about how special of a moment it might be for him and you both to be in this game?
Dom and I have talked, and it comes down to the same thing. It's about the basics, being consistent. That's been his biggest impact on me as the head coach, is be consistent with your messaging and be consistent with the things that are most important to you, because you get what you emphasize, and you can't emphasize everything. So you have to be very selective, and that's how you build culture. That's how you build identity. And Coach Dom has been an amazing support for me.
Thank you, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
This Monday was obviously a unique kind of situation, whether it was going to be a locker room cleanout day or getting ready for a playoffs. You talked about from your perspective, but what did you gauge from the guys as they were getting their hats and t-shirts, and just kind of that refocus that you said you're having, and what are you kind of seeing from them as you're getting ready to get going with the week?
Just a lot of excitement for the guys, especially the guys that have been here for a couple of years, the excitement of building something together, and the opportunity right in front of us. I can feel that about them. And hopefully by now, being 2 seasons into it, they know what I'm going to say. We got to go back to work, and we have to trust our process. We got to make sure we take care of each day the same way we've done all year in terms of our body care, our film preparation, coming in for the game plan, getting ready, being focused in the walkthroughs, and then making sure we have great energy on the field. So the guys are ready for the work. I'm excited to get back into the building with all of them.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much for taking the time.
All right, thank you.